Good day, friends. Trust that you and your family are well and just finishing up our walk and just going to walk with me a little bit, right? As I share some just some thoughts, and it has to do with a lot of the agendas which are now becoming, clearly visible to those who are paying attention, and we're seeing, persons pushing back, in different ways from different quarters and so on. A lot of activism and that type of thing, pushing back against these obviously destructive narratives, right? The LGBTQ stuff, this green agenda, which calls for you, the working man and woman, to give up, sacrifice, don't do this, don't use that, don't eat this, don't eat that. And while those who are setting these agendas and so on seem to be not willing to abide by them themselves, all right? Again, there are many people who are speaking up against it and so on. So am I. But for me, that's where it ends in terms of my social responsibility. Let's put it as that, because the responsibility will always remain with the individual, right? Of which direction that we decide to go, right? In a liberal society, that is how it's supposed to function. So I am not going to impose my ideas, my philosophies, my beliefs on other persons in the society, in a free, open society. But I will not allow anybody to impose their beliefs, ideas, philosophies on me. So the encouragement here is that while there are a lot of voices still speaking out against it, the level of activism to engage other people as to what they should and shouldn't do is a little bit too far for me, right? There are persons who it is my God-given responsibility to take care of, to look after, to protect, to provide for, who I am going to do that and not allow them to be taken advantage of by a system which is becoming more belligerent against those who resist it. For now, my wife, my children, my father passed a few years ago, so that includes my mother as well. Right? Of course, she's an adult, so she's still free to make her own decisions, but the responsibility in terms of protection and provision, for the most part, I take a responsibility for. All right. So in this, the reality is, with all the agendas, I take it upon myself, as I said, to protect the people who I'm responsible for, and by means of these talks, sharing my ideas, and trying to bring awareness of what these agendas are and the dangers of them, I think where it comes to my social responsibility, that's where it's going to end. Because other people's children, other people's lives, I one second. Yeah, I don't see it as my responsibility to act on that. All right. Again, the transgenderism, which clearly is being targeted to children these days, you have to be alert and make sure that that doesn't affect your children, the people who you're responsible for. I am going to make sure they don't affect mine, because obviously there are persons who are being used, the Dwayne Wades of the world, to, cause irreparable damage to the most vulnerable among us, which are the children. And I won't allow that happen to my children. As I said, who don't want to stand up and protect theirs, that's on you, right? But I will resist, and I will push back against people coming against mines, right? And I will fight for that. Not figuratively speaking, not the idea that I will, struggle, but literally fight, kick and cuff fight for that, right? I know that has become a bit of a, it's not allowed, in many quarters, but again, that is why there's such a big push against men, right? Because if we are the ones who are supposed to protect. 1 second, it's a little noise here, so let me just. Morning. It's a little noise here, so. All right. Hope that the song is coming through. I'm good now. Yeah, it is, particularly for my men. Your responsibility continues to be to protect, and society has made, resistance, particularly from a man's perspective, to defend. They've made it something that is described as toxic and all that stuff, but that is their problem. That's not mine, right? And as I said, even for people who are believers, again, we've been programmed to not be willing to resist ultimately, right? To resist powerfully, right? And to resist effectively, right? I'm not talking about, as I said, strikes and protests and, all these types of measures of activism, which is allowed, but bring no results, right? Because when you really look at it, the powers that be don't mind you protesting or marching, right, with placards and that kind of stuff. Nah, they don't mind that, right? But when you begin to be willing to stand up and say, not my children, not my wife, not my mom, right, not my parents, you become the problem. And again, I'm willing to accept that I am the problem, because the things that are being pushed on us, I will not accept. I will not accept. And over the course of the last, that's a few years, it has been exceptionally revealing that, persons with such a view, there's strangely a lack of tolerance for these persons, right? As I said, I believe in, if you want to do something, if you don't know where what goes as an adult, then that's your business. You put what where you want to put it. That has nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me, right? Well, the bigger in that sense, you'll know what I'm talking about. But when it comes to me personally and the people who I'm responsible for, I will act as is required to protect them, right? And I am prepared and willing to do so. Now, as I said, most times people would want, some kind a caveat with that, or a disclaimer. Nah, 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 not at all. Right? Again, when you look at the things that are being accepted, I mean, it's clear the direction that the policymakers want us to head into, and not going in that direction. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. Right? And my encouragement to you, particularly my brothers, my the guys who standing up, who have the responsibility of your family and those who you care for. This is the moment, right? This is the moment. There's no point in trying to negotiate and become comfortable with those who are actively seeking your destruction. I'm against that. All right. So again, resist. Right. If you fail to do so, there will come a time when it will be too late. Right. Imagine the train coming your direction. At this point, it is clear that you're in harm's way. Right? You're in harm's way. The powers that be have activated their agents to try to distract you from that train that's coming. Right? Those who have recognized the train is coming, the agents are trying to strap you or tie you to that track. Right? Of course, figuratively speaking now. And If you allow yourself to be tied to the track, if you allow yourself to be distracted, if you allow yourself to be denied the opportunity to get off that track, then the outcome, that's on you. All right, so that's what I wanted to share this morning. Continue to take care of yourselves and each other, and until next time, you are willing, be blessed.